What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBboxing back again. What another one. Gonna talk about the Jarrell Big Baby Miller versus Anthony Joshua fight that is now in jeopardy. Jarrell Big Baby Miller, they say he took what you call GW 5156, and the test came back positive that he took that, and that's a banned substance. So this fight is obviously in jeopardy. Then NSAC just came out about a couple hours ago saying that basically the fight is off. The fight's not happening, and they say Big Baby Miller can supply a B sample, and see if that B sample comes back negative. But most times in these type of cases, man, the B sample comes back exactly the same as the A sample, a positive test. So it's looking like this fight is not happening. Eddie Hearn is, and Anthony Joshua, they're now searching for another opponent. Names on the list that they're talking about, if they're throwing Luis Ortiz's name out there, and I'm gonna start with him. That fight's not happening. That's good PR to try to throw his name out to try to keep the people excited. Like, oh man, he's gonna fight Luis Ortiz. Maybe he fights him. He's actually a better opponent than Jarrell Big Baby Miller. But the fight is not happening, man. Luis Ortiz is a southpaw. Anthony Joshua's been training for orthodox fighter. And sparring partners have been orthodox fighters that he's been getting ready for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. It's no way he would have to scratch all those sparring partners and bring in some new sparring partners that's got that southpaw style. And and I think he said he would need at least 12 weeks. 12 weeks for that, and 12 weeks to training against a southpaw to get ready for a fight against Luis Ortiz. So I don't look for that fight to happen, man. There was a lot of people throwing his name out there, and I think Luis Ortiz and his team made a statement saying that they're willing and able to take that fight. All you gotta do is send them a contract, and you knew that Eddie Hearn wasn't gonna send him a contract anyway. He was just basically clout chasing. Doing what Eddie always does. You don't want to make it look like that Anthony Joshua is afraid of no one. He's the unified heavyweight champion of the world, and he's willing to face all comers. He doesn't want to make it look like Anthony Joshua is afraid of any fighter, because he thinks there's a lot of people out there in the boxing community thinks that Anthony Joshua is a coward based on the failed Deontay Wilder negotiations. So he's always got that front that he's gonna put out there that, oh no, we consider all fighters. Oh, we'll consider Luis Ortiz a southpaw guy. Basically have 5 weeks to get ready for him. We'll look at that fight. We'll look at all of them. He's willing to fight anybody, but that's not the case. So let's look at more realistic opponents for Anthony Joshua. You got a guy, Michael Hunter, a guy he just signed, I think it was last month, a guy out of the USA. That could be a guy that's got a fight on May 25th, a week before the Joshua versus Miller fight was to take place. That could be a guy that they're looking at. Michael Hunter, he's a guy that fought at cruiserweight. Now he's just entering the heavyweight division. Maybe they could put that fight on. He's a shorter fighter. He doesn't have the height that even Jarrell Miller, Big Baby Miller. I think he's probably around 6'1". And he's a cruiserweight, so he's a guy that they probably could be looking at. Another guy they might be looking at is Emmanuel Char. I think that fight is horrible if they take that fight. Actually, you got two foreign fighters fighting in New York. You've got to have an American fight on that card. The Big Baby Miller fight. He's not going to be able to take the fight because of the because of the failed drug test. So they're going to have to try to bring at least American a fighter from the USA to fight Anthony Joshua. And I think Michael Hunter fit the bill, man. They're gonna have to probably try to make that fight. A lot of people saying a fight is gonna probably take a hit, and it is gonna take a hit. But what you gotta understand is most of the fans that was gonna be at the Joshua Miller fight was gonna be from the UK. Most of the fans out of the say there was gonna be 17,000 fans at that fight. You know, I don't know. They saying that maybe it was gonna. They was saying it was tracking toward a sellout. You know, we'll see. But let's just say it would have had 17,000 fans in the arena. I say at least 10,000 of those fans would have been from the UK. So then you would have had a lot of people from New York. You know, big event. Anthony Joshua first USA debut. You know, you might have brought in another 5,000 to 7,000 of those fans. So you would have had mostly, you would have had 65% of the fans from the UK, and the other fans, people that like to be at big events at Madison Square Garden. You know, got people from New York, and then you got a lot of people from the UK that now lives in New York. So you'll have a lot of transplant UK people that live in New York that would have been at that fight. So it would have been basically a pro UK crowd anyway. So no matter if a Big Baby Miller was fighting or say a guy like Michael Hunter, it would have been a pro UK crowd. Either way it goes, I don't think it's gonna hurt the atmosphere as far as that goes. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like Jarrell Miller had some big fan base. He has no fan base, even in his own city, New York. As far as Big Baby Miller failing the drug test, it's unfortunate. You know, they say the drug was called GW5156. It's a drug. It's a drug that it's a muscle building drug. It's a drug that helps you with your endurance, and stuff like that. And you notice with Big Baby, his fights, he's a guy that throws a lot of punches. They like, man, how a big guy like that throws so many punches per round? He's the most active, the most highest output puncher in the heavyweight division. And you're starting to see the reason why he was that way. He was taking something illegal. He was taking a performance enhancer. That's why he was able to throw those many punches without really being tired. He used to be one of those guys where he threw a lot of punches and he never seemed to tire out. You'd be like, man, this guy's just in good shape. I kind of assumed that, he looks so relaxed in the ring that he was not wasting energy. He wasn't wasting excessive energy in fights. Kind of like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather never gets tired. He's in great shape, but he doesn't waste punches. He doesn't waste energy. He's very relaxed, and that allows him to be strong throughout the fight. And I thought that was kind of what Jarrell Big Baby Miller was about, man. I thought he was just a fighter that fought, he looked real relaxed in the ring, threw a lot of punches, didn't waste a lot of energy inside the ring, and I thought that was contributed to his, being fresh and never tiring in a fight. But it turns out that, he had some help with a performance-enhancing drug, and that just goes to show you that, you never, when it doesn't look right, it doesn't seem natural, it doesn't seem like, you see something that you've never seen in the ring before, a big guy like that throwing that many punches, after about round 5 or 6, man, that guy would be gassed out, man, be ready to get knocked out. But that never was the case with Big Baby Miller. So that was something that you had never seen in the sport of boxing. That should have been a red flag for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. So he's probably going to be suspended. This is his second failed drug test. He failed another drug test when he was a kickboxer. So this is going to be a strike two per se against him. And I think he's probably looking at a year ban from the sport of boxing. With that being said, man, we'll talk a little bit about the fight coming up between Amir Khan and Terrence Crawford, man. I gave you my prediction on that fight. I had Terrence Crawford stopping Amir Khan in round 9. Knockout. Kell Brook has come out and said that he wants to fight Crawford next. Assuming that Crawford wins against Khan. And at first when he came out and I first heard about it yesterday, I kind of dismissed it like, oh man, he's not gonna fight Crawford. Eddie Hearn's not gonna let that happen. Eddie Hearn didn't even want Amir Khan fighting Crawford. He's gonna let his other UK fighter, that's a high-profile fighter under Matchroom fighter, Crawford. No, I don't think so. But maybe if Kell Brooks insists on it, I think Kell Brooks probably got in his mind that Amir Khan is never going to fight him. And even if he wins or loses, he's never going to fight him. So I think he's looking for a big name in a Crawford. And I think he's at this point in his career that he has a hard time getting up for like C-level fighters or even B-level fighters. I think he's got to be in a big fight, high-profile, big-name fight to get up for it. Kind of like Amir Khan, he looked kind of bad against Samuel Vargas, and I expect him to look much better against Crawford. And I think that's the case with Kell Brook, man. I think his last performance was horrible. You know, to be blunt with it, it was horrible. He looked horrible against that cab driver he fought last time. But I think against Crawford, I think that would be. I think he'll be motivated, man. I think he'll be motivated like he was when he fought Spence, and I think he'll probably, he'll put on a good performance. Will it be good enough to beat Crawford? Doubt it, but I think you'll be looking for a better Kell Brook than you've seen in his last fight. So we'll see what happens with that. So like I said, it's a lot of bad and sad news going on in boxing, man. Like I said, Jarrell Miller failing another drug test. It's a sad situation. He's kind of let down a whole lot of people. A whole lot of people that were supporting him, a whole lot of people that's backing him. He's got, his family and stuff like that. They're gonna all have to, take the blunt of this, man. As far as he could have set himself up financially, and if he'd invested his money right, he could have set up his money for the rest of his life, based off this fight and based off of 2 fights. Because even if he would have lost to Anthony Joshua, he had 2 more fights at $1.5 million each lined up with Eddie Hearn in the zone in Matchroom. So he could, he's subject to lose. I think he probably would have made around about $6.5 million total for this Anthony Joshua fight. And you combine that with the $1.5 million each he'd have made, even if he lost to Joshua. That's $3 million plus 6.7. That's almost, you just round it off. That's around about $10 million that he has left on the table, man. It's a sad thing. Hopefully he'll learn from this. Hopefully when he come back from the suspension, he'll get in the gym and do it the natural way and get back up to the top. Because the guy does have skills. And and he's got a good boxing IQ, and he's got good boxing skills. So hopefully he can get back and try to do it the right way, and don't feel he needs some kind of shortcut or some kind of help, and for him to compete at a high level. So we'll see what happens with that. Another bad news for the zone was David Lemieux has pulled out of his upcoming fight in the zone. He got a hand injury, so he's not gonna fight the guy Ryder. So he's not going to be, I think he's supposed to be fighting on the undercard of a Canelo Danny Jacobs. So he's not going to be on that card. And it's been the last year and a year and a half, man. It's been an injury-plagued year for David Lemieux, man. He's missed, well, I ain't going to say injury-plagued year. He's been hurt before over his career. He's had injuries. I ain't going to say the last year and a half. I think the last time he actually was trying to force his body to make that weight, and he ended up getting sick and going to the hospital. So he wasn't able to fight on Canelo last fight against Rocky Fielding. That was the first fight on the zone for him. He's pulled off that card because of dehydration. Had a hard time making the weight, got ill, and ended up having to go to the hospital. So hopefully David Lemieux can get back on track. This hand injury, they saying he got a hand injury. It could be that he might be having problems making weight again. He's moved up to 168 pounds. Fighting that super middleweight because he can no longer make the 160-pound middleweight division. He can't make that weight anymore. So maybe he might be having problems making 168 pounds, man. One thing about it, in between fights and stuff like that, you got to kind of maintain and still have some kind of discipline with your weight. You can't let yourself go and get too out of shape, especially when you get older in your career, man. You have a hard time shedding that weight and making weight. So you got to stay disciplined, more so when you're older than when you're younger. So hopefully he'll learn a lesson. Hopefully he can get back and fight because he's under Golden Boy promotion. Golden Boy doesn't have a lot of talent outside of Canelo at the middleweight and super middleweight division. You got Jaime McGill that's probably going to end up going up to 160. And they're going to be setting up a future matchup with him and Canelo maybe sometime late 2020, if I had to guess. We'll see what happens on that. But they don't have a lot of talent at that weight, so David Lemieux is one of their top guys they're kind of counting on to make fights at 168. To maybe take on some guys like a Callum Smith. I think the zone's got Callum Smith over there, and Eddie Hearn's got a few guys over there that they probably can match up with David Lemieux. So he's a pivotal part of Golden Boy stable there. So hopefully he'll recover from the hand injury. Hopefully it is a hand injury. Hopefully it ain't a weight issue like it was last time. And hopefully he can come back and and being a significant fight. Because one thing about him, man, his style is very fan friendly, man. I like watching him fight. He doesn't have a lot of technique behind him, but the guy comes, he's swinging from the fences. He got power in both hands. He comes to fight, man. He's a pressure fighter, and he comes to knock his opponent out, man. I like his style of fighting, so hopefully we'll see him back in the ring sooner rather than later. Another thing, like I say, man, it's just been a sad thing going back to this Jarrell Miller situation, man. Just a sad thing, man. You know, the guy did a lot of talking, a lot of trash talking before the fight. You notice at the first press conference in New York, man, he tried to call AJ out on his alleged drug use, saying he was a drug cheat, and it turned out that he was the one that ended up popping dirty and ended up getting his fight canceled off of his stupid and dumb mistake. You know, you can't call a guy out. You know, and this guy AJ, one thing about him, he's never failed a drug test. This guy's never popped dirty. This is your second time popped dirty. And for you to have the audacity to call him out, I guess he was responding to what AJ said. AJ actually had called him a drug cheat, which was true, and he responded and said, "Well, I've been doing my homework on you, and you are a drug cheat. You try to get all these exceptions and this and these exceptions." Yeah, well, maybe that was the case, but the bottom line is he's failed no drug tests, okay? He failed no drug tests. You failed two, so you have no leg to stand on, okay? So you're looking at a 1 year suspension. You know, you let a lot of people down. You know, you might not ever be able to get this opportunity again in your boxing career, and you just blew a golden opportunity. You had a chance to become the unified heavyweight champion. You know, you could have did a rematch in the UK if you won the fight in New York and made some more money, beat AJ again, and then you could have set yourself up with a potential big payday with a Deontay Wilder, which could have been the most significant heavyweight matchup probably since Holyfield Tyson 2, between two American heavyweights. That would have been the most anticipated U.S. heavyweight matchup since Tyson Holyfield 1 and Tyson Holyfield 2. But you blew your opportunity, man. So hopefully you can learn from it, get yourself straight, come back stronger physically and mentally, and do it the right way, naturally. And because you do have the skills, and get yourself in better shape and quit relying on the drug to try to lose weight and try to increase your endurance, which they say were the effects of the GW5156 to help you with your endurance, help you lose weight, and help you with your muscle mass. So hopefully you learn that you can't do that with the drug testing right now. You know, different organizations with the WADA, and different organizations that's involved in boxing now, that you can't get away with what you thought you could get away with in the past. Again, this is JBboxing, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.